Hi everyone, welcome to day 21. So we finished with the Ikebana inspired spread, and today we're going to start a new spread which I thought is going to be smaller but more detailed, and it's inspired by my own artwork where I add a lot of these kind of lines and fine details. So what I thought we're going to do today, we're going to focus on the main flower and then add a little bit of greenery to it. In a way it will be looking like a rosette. So that's what I have in mind. So let's go ahead and think what kind of elements we want to use. Throughout the spread I will be using elements from these stamp sets. First of all, I already have gone ahead and stamped out the swatches using the strip from the palette swatches, which we haven't used yet. So we used this one in our first spread. Then we used this one in our second and third spread, and now we're going to move on to this strip. It's got, I believe, 13 colors. I will see what I do. I don't think I will be using all 13 colors. I think I will use potentially less colors and sort of merge them together for a very limited color palette and mix colors with those potentially 2 colors. The other elements are all botanical, and first of all, florals is sold out. So that's going to be mainly for those of you who already purchased it. I had so many sold that I think you'll be quite happy to pull them out and start playing with them again if you haven't for a while. And the other 2, they are available. Botanical stamp set and summer florals is the latest one, and they are all available on alyonacreates.com. Without further ado, let's now get some drawing done. To begin with, let's draw a circle. Not a perfect circle. I prefer them to be wonky, so that much we all can do. And we're going to add all the more kind of complicated elements by using the stamp sets. So let's start by drawing out a wonkier kind of circle. Within that circle we're going to draw another wonky circle. Could be an oval. We're going to add lines. So here I usually kind of section off a little area and then just start drawing lines like that towards the center. Carry on and fill in the entire flower with your lines. Once you've done that, let's take this leafy element from the summer florals, and as the rosette has kind of the flower and then the ribbons hanging down, we're going to do the same with our leafy detail. The only thing that I'm going to change up here is I'm going to make one longer and one shorter. So hover it above the flower and have a good look where you need to wipe off the excess so that it doesn't stamp over your gorgeous detail that you just created, and then go ahead and stamp it so that it doesn't look identical, but we're creating a nice composition. From this point you could add a few details if you wish. For example, something small. So I'm just going to add this flower here off to the side. Again, have a look where you want it to come out. I think I want mine about here. And so I'm going to wipe off the excess and stamp. That's it. I'm not going to add anything else. Like I said, I want it to be only a few elements, nice and easy, and we're just putting more detail within the line work. So that's going to be the style of these rosettes going forward for this spread. I'm going to add my signature center to the flower, and now I'm going to line out the leaves. I like to add a line going across the leaves. And now I'm going to line out the flowers. Notice how I slightly exaggerated the size of the petals, and you can do that so it's still the same shape of the flower, but you're changing it up a little bit. So for example, if you had another one of those stamped elsewhere, they wouldn't look identical because you didn't follow the lines exactly. So you have that flexibility of following the lines when you want precision, like here, or you can go off the piece slightly. Now let's work with watercolor, and I think I want something quite pink. Oh, I know. There's a fun thing we can do today. We can mix kind of like a almost chartreuse green with this pink and get some really interesting colors in between. So I'm going to start by just creating a line and then adding a bit more. And kind of trying to create an ombre, still maintaining some of the white. So that's our hot pink. I'm going to swatch it. And now I'm going to take some chartreuse, which is like on the opposite spectrum, and just add a little bit of pink into it just to warm it up a touch. And I'm going to fill in the leaves. I'm going to keep it fairly simple here. I'm going to wait for this color to dry, and then we're going to add some interesting mix that we'll create by using the two colors, mixing them together and get a lovely kind of orange, and we'll add that into these flowers there. So now we're going to mix the two colors, and you will be very surprised what we will get. Like a beautiful orange. I'm going to go for my smaller brush and add this color into these dainty petals. Going into just opera pink, I'm going to touch it just at the very corner, like so, just to bring that vibrancy in here and also create an ombre effect. Make sure there's not too much water on your brush. Just like that. And it's so pretty. I think on the camera it looks a bit washed out with this color right here, but it's gorgeous. I could actually just go into a clean chartreuse, making sure I don't have any pink in my brush. The memory card got full, as you can imagine. I have a lot of videos to get through this month, but what I was doing is I loaded the clean chartreuse straight from the pan right here, and I have edited just on the base of every leaf and also a little bit here. So it's the chartreuse from my Ultimate color palette. as is my cobalt teal as well. So if you're interested, check out this set. It's still available. All of these are my favorite mixes of the chartreuse, quinacridone gold deep, cobalt teal, green gold deep, and strawberry velvet. I just threw in for the measure because it's a really interesting, unique color that granulates and pigment separates. And it was inspired by wilted strawberries. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is the dimension of colors you can get by mixing a chartreuse with opera pink. This is the discovery I made a while ago, and I absolutely love what you can create with these two colors. So we're just going to add tiny little bit. Just going to add some water. We then warm it up, and that's the green we got here. And then tiny little bit more. And it just gradually warms up and becomes a very lovely spread of colors. This particular strip of the swatches I have designed for exactly that, so that we can play with our watercolors and explore all the dimensions that you can mix, all the different tones, and discover some color mixes that you haven't thought of before. Isn't that looking gorgeous? I absolutely love how we get from one end to the other end. The beautiful spectrum of colors in between. So you could, for example, if you had a fuller composition or a cluster of flowers, you could go through just these two colors and mix these colors in between, and you'd have such a beautiful, harmonious color palette, because you are using just the two colors together. You're not jumping to a completely different color that might not work. These are guaranteed to work. So that's the idea for this spread that we're going to carry on tomorrow. Let's take a closer look. It is hard to pick up on these colors through a camera because it's opera pink, so it's going to have that fluorescence to it, and the chartreuse also looks a little bit washed out, but in actual fact they're beautifully bright and zesty colors. And I hope you can see on the little flowers how beautiful the mix is. And let me know what you think about the rosette idea. And I will see you next time, day 22.